G'day guys, how's it going? Just giving you my thoughts on Bitcoin for the week. I do like to get these videos out on a Monday. This one's coming out on Tuesday because I gave myself a day off yesterday. For those who don't know, I'm in Victoria. I'm regional, so luckily I haven't copped the worst lockdowns like the people in Melbourne. But I've got a sibling in Melbourne, I've got a lot of friends in Melbourne, and so they had their radius lifted on Friday. So my sibling came down, all my siblings actually came home. We're all sort of spread out throughout Victoria. Everyone came home. It was fantastic hanging out with them. We had a really nice time. I caught up with mates that I haven't seen in a really long time because they've been in Melbourne. So it was a great weekend. That said, it was a big weekend, and so it's partly why I gave myself the day off yesterday. At the same time, I always feel dumb after a big weekend. I always feel slow for a couple of days, or a day, sometimes two. This one's two. So I'm not trading today. I have still done all my charts and the setups that I like, because there are a few. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll look at them and go, does this still make sense? And I'll either go, yeah, I was spot on yesterday, or no, like that is ridiculous. You were very, very foggy yesterday. So that's one of the other reasons that I don't trade. If I'm feeling off at all, I don't trade. And sometimes I feel off after a big weekend, just a bit mentally slow. Went for a run this morning, so hopefully that'll help. That has helped clear up a fair bit of it, but I'm still not quite there. And so that's cool. I'll just, do what I do, and tomorrow I should be feeling sharp as a tack, and hopefully be looking at some pretty nice positions. That said, I'll still give you what I'm thinking, but take it with a grain of salt. If I'm feeling a bit slow, then, maybe I'm thinking a bit slow, and so this might be horrible, but I don't think it will be. So, we're currently looking at Bitcoin on the monthlies. The reason for that is there was a monthly close yesterday, so I just have a quick look. Really nice monthly close, right? Big bullish engulfing. That's always a good sign. Now, if we come down to the weeklies, let me just sort that out a bit. There we go. So not much has really changed. So looking at the same demand zones that I was talking about last week, there is this really nice trend line. Now, I haven't had that trend line marked. I didn't realize I normally like to chart on the log charts. For those who don't understand log charts, I'll link the video I did covering them. I normally like to chart on the log chart because it allows you to work with more data. And I didn't realize I haven't been charting on the log chart. So I did have a similar trend line, but it was a fair way away from price. And then putting it on the log chart, you see price is actually quite close to these trend lines. So that's kind of bullish. It's not immediately bullish, but yeah, it's a good sign, I think. Excuse me. That said, on the weekly, not really seeing much, just those demand zones. We've had some indecision over the last 2 weeks. Bit of a wick up, bit of a wick down. So this week might be the week that we make a decision, start heading one way or the other, or we might just have more indecision. There's not a whole lot happening on the weekly that impresses me. On the daily, there's 2 levels I'm really keen on the daily, and they are this zone, which it's a pretty wide zone. I don't really like wide zones, but that wick sort of makes it a necessity. And this zone. So we're talking, the one that I really, really like is this bottom one. So that's about 49 to 46, 500-ish. I like that a lot as a zone, right? It's a daily demand zone. There's a strong daily EQ level. It's the 50 fib. This weekly trend line is coming to meet it. So, if we were to sort of do something like this, I would be quite happy going long from this area. That said, I'm looking at the end of November, so I'm talking 4 weeks away. But I always like to have a really big picture view of what I think's happening, or even if it's not what I think's happening, what I will do if that does happen, and that is an area I really like. This higher one, sort of 55 to 50-ish, or 51, similar. I don't like it as much. There's just sort of less reasons for me to be bullish from there, but still, daily demand zone, daily EQ, the trend line's a fair way away there, but we could range for a little while, meet the trend line and then bounce, you never know. But those are 2 levels that I do quite like on the daily. That said, it might be a while before price gets anywhere near them. So on the 4 hour, I'm currently seeing nothing. Let me get rid of these, or just that one. So, I'm not seeing nothing, but I'm seeing nothing that I like. I look at the 4 hour at the moment and I just go, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on here. that doesn't mean that I'm confused or anything, but it's just, it's not, the market's not moving in a way that suits my style. And so I'm sort of happy to just do nothing for a little while. So this week, there's nothing I'm seeing on Bitcoin on the 4-hour charts. What I thought I'd do is go through my trades from last week to sort of give you guys an idea of how I manage my trades. So let me get rid of that so things are clean, because I have a habit of getting a bit messy. That was the wrong one to bring back. So last week on the video, I spoke about a short. I was looking at a short from this supply zone based on a few things. You can watch the video last week if you want to know why I was keen on shorts from there. Now, that short played out really nicely, right? Entry got hit. Price moved away. Hit my first take profit. Came down. Just missed my second take profit, which was kind of painful to watch, but that's okay. Now, I actually did sort of botch managing this trade in a small way, not a huge way. It wasn't anything awful, but you know, it wasn't how I should be managing my trades. What I did, it's such a dumb mistake. I put in my take profits when I was looking at the hourly chart, and I didn't realize. I thought I was on the 4-hour, so I took profits there, and there. I think. Let me. I'll just hide this one. This one for a sec. Which was not how I wanted to take profits, but I took profits through those three, which was still pretty good, right? That's about a 2.8 to 1 risk to reward, so it's not the worst mistake I've ever made. You know, any mistake where you still make money it's still a mistake. It still shouldn't happen, but it's a much better mistake than when you lose money. That said, I didn't take all my profit. If you watch my maths versus psychology video that I just covered, I'll link that one as well. But if you watch that, you'll sort of understand how I take profit, and I always like to trail some of my stop. So I still had a fair bit of, or not a fair bit, but some of my position to take profit where I actually wanted to on the 4 hours. So I had my take profit here, didn't get hit. Now, the other thing I did was I managed my stop loss, which I'm huge on. I'm a really big fan of managing my stop loss. That's also in my maths versus psychology video. I think it's the last section I cover. So what I did, I've got a little, where's my managed stop loss? There we go. Hopefully that'll be, moving the wrong one. Bring managed stop loss. Okay. It's appearing to be like hidden for some reason. What I'm going to do is just put in another, I don't know what's going on there. That's a bit weird. Because it's saying managed stop loss on the right, but I can't actually see the, oh, is it in here? Yeah, it is. That's what's going on. Right. Let's just delete that one. Yep, sweet. I'll bring this back down. Sorry about that, guys. But so what I did was, if that was where my initial stop was, I'll go back to the 4 hour, because this is what I was managing the trade on, or supposed to be managing the trade on. Once we hit, actually it wasn't even then, once we had this big bearish engulfing, I moved my stop down to just above the top of that candle. And the reason I did that is what I wanted to see had happened, and so now if we kept heading up, I did not want to be in this trade. I didn't like that at all. So I moved my stop down. That immediately roughly halved my risk, right? If that was my entry, we're now at 0.84, before we're at 1.3, you know. So I was now at, like, say, 0.6R instead of 1R, which is really, really good. It means I can afford to lose more because I'm losing less each time. Then what I did was, when price was down here, so after we had this sort of big wick up and then moved down, I moved my stop loss down to here, which meant that my stop was in profit, right? So worst case scenario, I got stopped out, I made some money. That's what happened. Unfortunately, we didn't hit this take profit that I had. Price came back up, hit my stop loss, and I got stopped out. So took most of my position at around an average of 2.8, took this at about 2.15, so I got out for somewhere around, let's say, 2.5. Great trade. Now, obviously, would have been better handled if I'd managed had not taken profit on the 1 hour, because my first target was 3.8, so, you know, I would have just had more profits there, but it's fine. It's cool. Made money. Did well on that trade. The other trade I took last week, which I didn't speak about in the video, but I shared on Tradingview. So again, if you're not following me there, worth a follow in my opinion. Was my long. Let me get rid of my managed stop loss. And actually, I'll get rid of the fibs because they're probably just going to get in the way. But I took longs off these two demand zones. Now, this week here, it did pierce them on the Bitstamp chart. I don't trade on Bitstamp. I just use it because it's got the most historical data. So I always chart there and then go and actually take trades on other exchanges. On the exchange that I took this trade on, I bought the bottom of this wick to within $80, which you can see I've done the maths there. It was about a 5k move. That's like 1.6%. That I was stoked. I basically nailed the bottom of that in terms of my entry, which is fantastic. Again, I'll run you guys through how I manage the trade. In fact, I'll use the replay tool this time, which is there. So, by the time, don't worry about these trend lines, but by the time that I saw I was in the trade, price was, this is nice and slow, there we go. Price had started to sort of sell off, and it wasn't really the sell off that worried me, but here was where I wanted to take profit. That was where I intended to take profit, and the fact that we'd had this wick, and we were down here, I saw this and I went, okay, I don't know if we're going to get back up to that level. That was where I intended to take profit, but I didn't have my take profit set because I didn't know I was in the trade until I saw this. Saw the wick. I think it happened overnight, so I woke up. I don't check my phone early in the morning, so I didn't see the alerts or anything. By the time I did, price was down here somewhere. So I managed to cash out for about 2.8 to 1. And so not cash out, because I didn't cash out the whole trade, but I took some profit for 2.8 to 1. And the reason that I did that was I wanted to take profit up here, which was about a 4 to 1. This difference is just based on the exchange and some things. I wanted to take profit at the 4 to 1. I'd potentially missed that, or I had missed that, right? We'd already hit where I wanted to take profit. We were back down. There's no guarantee we're going to get up there again. 2.8 to 1 is still a fantastic risk to reward. So I just cashed out some of the position. You know, if you get into a trade and one 4-hour candle, so 4 hours later you can cash out for 2.8 to 1. That's doing pretty well in my opinion. So I cashed out a little bit. Then I did also put in my exit. So I put one exactly where I wanted to before. So for just a bit less than what I would have liked to have taken it, I put another one here, maybe. Yeah, I think I did. Put one there. Put one there, and put one up here. So I did that, and then I have just watched the trade play out since. We'll speed this up a little bit because it was quite slow. Beautiful. And so actually there was some managing that I did. So again, let's say that this week only came to here, because that's about where it was on the exchange that I took it. As soon as I saw that I was in this trade, because price was up here, I moved my stop to right below the wick. So again, massively reduced my risk. I also use what I call like a manual stop. So I have an actual stop loss, which is always a stop market order. But I also use a manual stop, which is a level that once price starts closing below it and I get 2 closes, I'll close out of a trade. My manual stop was further up here. We've sort of formed, I think this might be where we are today-ish. Yep. So we sort of formed this descending wedge, which is a bullish sign, especially after a big move up, a bit of a bullish sign. So my stop's now in profit. I've moved it up. Stop's in profit. So worst case scenario, I get stopped out and I make money. Fantastic scenario. You gotta love that. And I'm just, because I'm not sure on what Bitcoin's doing at the moment, I'm happy to just sit in this. My targets are still there. I've still got my exits up there. I'm still going to trail my stop loss up. If we do run up, I won't take profit on 100% of the position. I'll trail my stop on some of it. And if we come back down, I've got my managed stop loss. So, I might, if say we get 2 closes below this level, I might be able to get out for, 1.8 to 1. And if not, worst case scenario, I'm getting like 0.5 to 1, which is not a great risk to reward, but you get to stop down in profit, and I've already taken profit up here a little bit. So that's my thoughts at the moment. This was looking more bullish earlier this morning. You know, between this big wick up there, we've had a decent buyback there. This was not a bullish engulfing when I was looking at it, but you know, more bullish. Obviously, price was up here at one point. But I'm not going to close my position, you know, based on this candle. I basically, from here, all that can happen is either my stop gets hit, my take profits get hit, or we close below this level and consistently close below this level, and then I just manually close my trade if my stop hasn't been hit. But until then, I'm happy to sit in along. I'm happy to just, you know, wait and see what happens. So there you go. That's my thoughts for the week, which was, you know, probably kind of useless for you guys because I don't really have many thoughts on Bitcoin for the week. But hopefully the you know, how I manage my trades will be really helpful for you guys to see how I do some of my things. Like I said at the start, I am feeling a bit slow, a bit foggy today. So, you know, take that into consideration. And yeah, hopefully you guys are having a ripper time trading the markets. I'll put out a new video on Thursday or Friday later in the week, another educational video, because I'm starting to get back into those a little bit. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Happy trading, and I'll talk to you very soon.